You have a free moment. Maybe it's 5 minutes waiting for something. Maybe it's lunch break. Maybe it's the gap between finishing work and starting your evening. And without even thinking, you open the app. The scroll starts. 30 seconds later, you're watching a guy do a prank in a supermarket. Then a gym clip. Then a fight. Then a cooking video. Then something funny. Then something that made you angry. Then something that made you laugh. You look up. 45 minutes are gone. You didn't choose to spend 45 minutes on that. You didn't decide it. You didn't even enjoy most of it. It just happened. And this is happening to you every single day. Short-form content is not entertainment. It is one of the most sophisticated attention extraction systems ever built, and it is running on your brain right now without your permission. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what it's doing to you and what to do instead. Smash like, subscribe for more Sigma Mindset content, and let's get into it. Let's be clear about what short-form content actually is. Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat Stories. Content designed to be consumed in under 60 seconds, optimized not for your enjoyment or education, but for one single metric. Time on platform. The longer you stay, the more money the platform makes from advertising. And so they built algorithms, some of the most advanced recommendation systems in the world, whose entire purpose is to figure out exactly what keeps you scrolling. Your insecurities, your curiosity, your anger, your loneliness, your boredom. Every piece of data you generate, every pause, every rewatch, every like, is fed back into a machine that gets better and better at holding your attention hostage. This is not accidental, it is engineered. And understanding that changes how you see every moment you spend on it. You are not relaxing. You are being harvested. Damage 1. It is systematically destroying your ability to focus. Your brain is plastic. It rewires based on what you repeatedly do with it. And when you spend hours a day consuming content that changes every 30 to 60 seconds, you are training your brain to expect constant novelty. Constant stimulation, constant switching, constant reward. Then you sit down to do something that actually matters, study, deep work, reading, building, and your brain immediately starts looking for the next hit. It cannot stay on one thing. Not because you're lazy, because you literally rewired it to be incapable of it. Neuroscientists call this attentional fragmentation, the ability to sustain focus on a single task, once damaged, takes weeks of deliberate effort to rebuild. And most men are damaging it every single day without realizing it. The attention span you need to build skills, to think deeply, to solve hard problems, to create anything real, is being quietly dismantled. 30 seconds at a time. Damage 2. It suppresses your dopamine baseline and kills your motivation. There is a lot being said about dopamine online, but it's worth saying directly in the context of short form. Every swipe delivers a new dopamine hit. Funny hit, surprising hit, outrageous hit, attractive hit. Hundreds of small dopamine spikes per hour, far more than your brain was designed to handle. And just like any system overloaded with a signal, your brain responds by reducing its sensitivity to it. It downregulates, builds tolerance. Now real life, the gym, the work, the skill, the slow progress of building something, produces a dopamine signal your desensitized brain barely registers. Everything feels flat, unmotivating, not worth the effort. That is not a personality trait, that is not who you are. That is what happens to a reward system that has been flooded with cheap stimulation until it can no longer feel the real thing. Short-form content is not making your free time more enjoyable. It is making the rest of your life feel less worth living. Damage 3. It is stealing time you will never get back, disguised as rest. Here is the lie that keeps men on the scroll. I'm just relaxing, I deserve a break, I'll get back to it in a few minutes. But short-form content is not rest. Rest is what happens when your brain is allowed to be quiet, to wander, to process, to recover. What short-form content does is the opposite. It keeps your brain in a constant state of passive stimulation, never fully engaged, never fully at rest. You finish a session feeling more drained than when you started, slightly foggy, vaguely dissatisfied, not sure what you just watched or why. That is not the feeling of a man who rested. That is the feeling of a man whose attention was consumed without his consent. And the time cost is staggering. 2 to 3 hours a day, conservatively, for the average person. That is over 700 hours a year. 700 hours. That is enough time to learn a new language to conversational level. To read 50 books. To build a side income from scratch. To train consistently enough to completely transform your body. All of it gone, to content you won't remember by tomorrow. Damage 4, it distorts your perception of reality and your own life. Short-form content is a highlight reel of the most extreme version of everything. The funniest moments, the most dramatic fights, the most impressive physiques, the most lavish lifestyles, the most outrageous opinions. Nothing average, nothing ordinary, nothing real. And when that becomes your daily input, your brain starts calibrating normal against it. Your life starts to feel slow by comparison, boring, underwhelming. The progress you're making feels too small. The body you're building looks unremarkable next to the filtered, enhanced, perfectly lit versions you've been fed all day. The life you're living feels like it doesn't measure up. That dissatisfaction is not insight, it is distortion. Created deliberately by a medium that profits from making you feel like you're missing out, so you keep scrolling in search of something that makes you feel better. It never does, because the algorithm is not designed to satisfy you. It is designed to keep you hungry, always slightly dissatisfied, always needing one more scroll. Protect your perception of reality. What you consume shapes what feels normal, and normal should be the real world, not a curated feed of extremes. Here's the part most videos skip. They tell you to delete the apps and stop there. But the urge to consume doesn't disappear. The boredom doesn't disappear. The gap in your day doesn't disappear. You need to replace it intentionally. And the replacement doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to read philosophy every time you pick up your phone. But here's the hierarchy of better options, starting with the simplest swap. Long-form content, a full YouTube video, a podcast, a documentary. Something that requires your brain to follow a thread for longer than 60 seconds. It still gives you passive input, but it rebuilds attention span instead of destroying it, and you might actually learn something. Reading even 10 pages, even a chapter, it trains focus, builds vocabulary, develops the ability to think in longer chains. Every book is a direct upgrade from the scroll. Walking without the phone, just moving, just thinking, letting your mind wander without filling it with input. This is where your best ideas come from. This is where your brain actually recovers. Working on something, anything, a skill, a side project, a creative outlet, uncomfortable at first because your brain will scream for stimulation. But after 10 minutes, the focus arrives, and the satisfaction after is incomparable to anything a scroll ever gave you. The rule is simple. When you have nothing to do something real, or do nothing at all. Just don't scroll. Here's the truth underneath all of this. Boredom is not a problem. Boredom is the doorway to everything. Every great idea, every creative breakthrough, every moment of real self-reflection. It starts in the discomfort of having nothing to do and choosing not to fill it with noise. Your brain, left alone, does not stay empty. It creates, it processes, it solves. But only if you let it. Short-form content has convinced an entire generation that boredom is unbearable, that a free moment must be filled immediately with stimulation. And in doing so, it has stolen something that cannot be bought back. The ability to sit with yourself, to think your own thoughts, to feel your own feelings, to want your own things, not the things the algorithm decided you should want. The man who can be bored and stay there without reaching for his phone is a man who still owns his own mind. In 2026, that is rarer than almost any other skill. And it is the foundation of every other kind of strength. So here's exactly what short-form content is doing to you. 1. Destroying your ability to focus 30 seconds at a time. 2. Suppressing your dopamine baseline, killing motivation for real life. 3. Stealing hundreds of hours a year, disguised as rest. 4. Distorting your perception of reality, making your real life feel like not enough. And here's what to do instead. Switch to long form, read, walk without the phone, build something. Or just do nothing, sit with the boredom, let your brain breathe. Here's your challenge this week. Every time you feel the urge to open the scroll, pause for 10 seconds. Then ask yourself, is this rest or is this avoidance? If it's avoidance, close the app, do something real, or do nothing at all. Do that for 7 days and pay attention to how your focus, your energy, and your motivation shift. Like this video if it made you look at your screen time differently. Subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll keep saying what needs to be said. You are not bored. You are free. Stop filling that freedom with someone else's algorithm. I'll see you at the top.